So my name is Rebecca Gallagher. I'm with the Poconos VRO. That's the Pocono Vacation Rental Owners Association. And we are here today with Teresa Johnson, the Monroe County Treasurer, and we are talking about the ins and outs of filing your quarterly hotel tax. And we and the county treasurer, everyone wants our owners, property managers to be compliant with this, and that it's easy. And if you don't know what to do, we want you to know how to find the answers. And so if we can go to the next screen, you can see some information about Teresa Johnson, our county treasurer. That is how you can personally reach Teresa. Her email address, her telephone number, and the web address for the county office. And if you'll go to the next slide, there's how you can reach me. So Rebecca Gallagher, Executive Director of the Poconos VRO, and there is my phone number and email address if after this presentation anyone wants to reach out with any questions. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Teresa, and at the end, we are going to do some Q&A.
Hello, everyone. If anyone owns a home in Monroe County and is interested in renting as a short-term rental through Airbnb or a booking platform, VRBO, there's many out there. The first step is to go to the township to make sure that your home is in a zoned area that does allow for short-term rentals. And if it is, you're going to be getting a packet of information and a checklist of items that you do have to do. And the very first one on there in most townships is to complete a registration application, which is located on our website, which is under the treasurer's office. There is an area that you would go to for short-term rentals, completing the registration application, and then you would email that to our office. Once we get the application, we acknowledge it, letting you know that it would take about 2 or 3 days, sometimes quicker, sometimes longer, depending on how many we do receive. If it is a new home purchase, we ask that you send a copy of the deed because it's not going to be re-registered in our database yet, and that is a step that has to be done if it's a new purchase. Once we have processed everything, we then email you back a copy of the hotel tax certificate with your name, your address, and your excise tax number that's been issued to you, and one quarterly report with all the information. It's important to keep this email because you will then receive the packet in the mail, which will have your original certificate, 4 quarterly reports, and a letter with some information and the dates of when those quarterly reports are due in our office. And to stay compliant, it's important to start sending your reports through, even if it's at an end of a quarter, that you do send us a 0 report just saying that you're not renting yet. But that is important because when you go to renew your certificate or your permit that's been issued from the township, they're going to want to see that you are compliant and have been compliant in order to get your renewal. So, and this is a copy of what it looks like. It's going to be on blue paper. It'll have our corporate seal. And on the other side, it does list the dates that they're due in our office, which is always the 25th of the month ending each quarter. And if it's just something that you're renting through a platform that does submit the collections to our office, you can email us a 0 report along with your account summary page showing you don't have to put any numbers or any amounts on the quarterly report. But if you do any direct bookings, which you may do through a realtor, and then they send you the funding, you have to list that on the gross room receipts block there. And of course, the 3%, if you just complete it as such, that's the amount that you would need to submit to our office in a check. We don't invoice anything. There's no way for us to ever know how much you're going to be submitting to us if you do direct bookings. That is why a payment via a check is important to send along with that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So one of the questions that I just had watching you go through that is you talked about some platforms that that collect and submit the tax. I think
Mhm.
Airbnb is one of those, right? So
Correct.
what other platforms would collect tax and submit the hotel tax on my behalf for me?
Other than Airbnb, we do receive a check from HomeAway, which is an umbrella, which some Verbo, VRBO. There's different, from what I understand, there's different VRBOs out there. They would let the individual know if they're collecting on their behalf or if they're going to be submitting a payment to that customer for them to then send into us. But HomeAway, Airbnb, and Evolve are they're the three top ones that we do receive one large check, and there's no way they don't send anything in to us identifying who they've collected for. That's why it's important for the individual to send us through a zero report with their account summary page showing that this is what Airbnb has collected.
Okay. So basically, I'm just going to say, here's the amount that was collected by Airbnb for me, and here's the amount that I took in from other places, and I send in that amount.
Correct. If you do both. 80% of the people that do rent their homes short term in our county are strictly through a platform that does submit on their behalf. But if you can do one of two things. You can do a report just with your direct bookings and then do another one, a zero report, and list your account summary page. Or you can do one report listing both on there, but you never ever have to list the amount that has been collected and submitted on your behalf. So there's no struggle of trying to remember or trying to gather that information. It's always going to be zero because you yourself are not collecting that and submitting that to our office.
Oh, okay. I like the idea of maybe like copying the form and submitting like this is direct, this is
Mhm.
Airbnb, and so that I think that might keep it simple for homeowners, that
Right.
make it less complicated on like because it could get confusing.
Right. And the reports that we send to them once they're registered already have their excise tax number, their name, their address. All they have to do is complete the time period for that quarter. And if it's zero because they've not rented on their own, they just put zero on there and then see attached and they email that to us. It's very simple. We try to make everything as easy as possible.
So basically, I think what I'm hearing is that if I've got revenue coming in or bookings that are from, say, Airbnb and VRBO, and I've also taken some direct bookings, maybe I just file that form 3 times and keep it simple and clear, like where the money came from. Like VRBO, it's a zero report. Airbnb, it's a zero report. And here's the $500 that came from me, and I collected this much hotel tax from this much revenue. Does that is that something that people would do with you?
Well, what they're going to have their quarterly report. So the best thing is if they have direct bookings and they would total say $5,000, that would certainly go on the first line for gross bookings, gross earnings. So this way, the 3% that they're going to be submitting to us would agree on that form. If they're going to have both direct bookings and through an Airbnb or a platform that does collect and submit on their behalf, they could use the same form or use another one, which may be suggested because then there's no confusion then. But with that, they would write zero and just attach their account summary page to that, submitting that as well. And if they are going to be submitting a quarterly report with a payment, it does have to be a check and they should mail that to us. And if they have any Airbnb reporting, they can mail that in one packet instead of emailing just the Airbnb and then submitting it. They could do it all together.
Yeah. So I
Right.
think some of the confusion would be nobody cares what your total bookings were. It's
Correct.
just the bookings related to the tax that you collected and that you are paying. So you
Right.
may have had $20,000 in overall bookings, but only 1,000 of it was a direct booking. That 1,000 is what's going on that gross sales
That
line.
is correct. Yes. Yep.
Got it. Yeah, that
Right.
totally makes sense. And if I file late, you have the amount on there. It's the and it's
It's
late by quarter, right? So like,
well, correct. So the deadline dates are the 25th of the month ending each quarter. So in other words, if you're collecting first quarter, the deadline would be April 25th. So if you're submitting your payment after April 25th, if it's a month after that, you add one month to that, which is 1.5% of the tax. And then if it's 2 months, you would do 2 months and so on. And certainly, I mean, you can always call our office and we can help you calculate that, because if you submit it incorrectly, we can't change it, obviously. We might have to call you and let you know that you're going to need to do it again. But certainly, if you have any questions, always call us. We're here to help get you on track and stay compliant.
yeah. But so what I took away also from what you were saying is even if you're not collecting a single penny in tax yourself, you still need to file quarterly. And you can get caught up. It doesn't cost you anything to get back on track with the county and submit all those zero tax forms for the last couple months, just so that
Right.
everybody's on the right page. You know, the assessment is only if you owed money that you didn't pay when you were supposed to, then you're going to have a fee. But
Right.
but your township is going to want to know that you're compliant and that you're submitting your quarterly forms, even if they're a zero owed form, right?
That's correct. Yep. So even if you haven't submitted anything and you realize 6 months down the line, or you get notification from your township that your renewal is up for to be renewed, your permit, this way you can submit everything to us via in a quarter, a quarter at a time, or mostly people don't realize that they forgot and now they're sending them all through to us, and that's perfectly fine. If you're able to submit with your quarterly report, the account summary page for that time period, that's great. Because with all of this, at some point, you may be audited from our controller's office. And if and when you are, you have to produce all this information. So that's why it's important to send it through each quarter as you submit your quarterly reports. This way you totally are all up to compliance.
So, I mean, you have made it seem very simple. It's very clear. I love that, if somebody were to watch this video, they can go back to that page and see where to find all these forms. That QR code that was on there takes people straight to the place they need to find the forms to get signed up with you to begin with. And then you're going to send the pre-filled out paperwork. I mean, how nice is that? But still, I think to me, like filing taxes can be super scary and you're terrified to do something wrong. And, maybe like the first time somebody's doing this, like what's the best way for people if they want to make sure they're doing it right, or if they have a question, should they call you? Is there a contact us form? An
Yes.
email? Like what's the best way for them to just have somebody to assure them that nope, you've done it right. You're in good shape.
Well, first of all, always call our office, because we can take as long as needed to go over everything step by step with you. Because this way we know that you're going to fill out line one as it should be, line two. Once we get the email, if it's not correct, we have to email back, and it's back and forth via email. So during our office hours, which are 8:30 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, and you're able to call us during that time, it's much better to do it then. But certainly if you email it, we email back. If it's something's not correct, we certainly do work with everybody. And even once you submit your first quarterly report and you're not sure, call us and we'll walk you through it, because it makes our life easier, as we have almost 6,000 now that we deal with, to make sure that you're on point from the very beginning.
I love that. It's just so nice to have the county treasurer out there as a partner with short-term rental
Mhm.
owners to make sure that that they're staying compliant, and that the money that's being collected, in case people aren't really aware, I mean, this hotel tax that we're submitting to you is
Mhm.
money that is going to the visitor bureau to help promote this area, to help bring in future guests for our vacation rental owners, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. We turn 96% over, so we keep very little for the administrative costs that it cost us to keep up with this. But yes, it goes to the Visitors Bureau.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your
Mhm.
time and for everything you do to help uh, our constituents across the county stay compliant, and just, your availability to do this webinar, but also to answer phone calls and email requests. It's just so um, terrific. It's so appreciated
Oh,
by
you're
all of
welcome.
us.
Anything I can do to make it easier for everybody, that's what we're here for. So please
All
call
right.
us.
That's going to wrap up our webinar. We hope that the people watching this found the information to be super valuable. And the final screen here will be contact information for Teresa's office, so that if you ever do have a question or concern or need to reach out, it's just one phone call away. She and her team are fantastic, and they're there to help make you successful. So again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, especially Teresa, and everyone, have a great day.